Hello everyone, I'm Manuel Bagorro, the curator for the Wellbeing Summit in Bilbao, and I'm delighted to be here with one of the artists in our artist track who are producing newly commissioned pieces in response to the idea of well-being and inner self-care. Grimanesa, it's a delight to be here in your studio and to see some of your work and to get a feel for the beauty that you bring into your own life and to the lives of others. So thank you.
Thank you, Manuel. I'm, delightful to have this conversation with you.
I'd love to start with just getting a sense of your life journey that has resulted in this life in art. Tell me a little bit about how that happened.
It all started when I was, I think, a little girl growing up in Lima, in Peru. We have the Pacific Ocean, which is quite raw. I used to play by the shore with a lot of the foam. A certain time of the year, they have sculptural forms and they move with the wind. I start playing by the refraction and the rainbowish colors that they will have with the sun. When I was 11, my mother enrolled me into some paint classes. So I think that I'm just very grateful to her that she recognized my passion at such an early age.
That's beautiful. And of course, your journey has led you to make these monumental public art pieces as well as intimate pieces. I wonder, as this event is about well-being and about finding inner well-being, I wonder about the connection between your work and your personal well-being, and particularly about light, which is such an important element in so much of your work, and the connection between light and well-being.
Well-being, of course, is part of my daily way of life. So since I would say, 16 years old, I started thinking about the word happiness. What does it really mean or meant for me? I know that for me is balance in life. So it's not only your physical balance, but also emotional. And those two have to be par and pair. But of course, we live in a very active world. So many things happening constantly, especially now. During the last 10 years, technology moves so fast. So we have to keep constantly adapting. I will say, in my case, daily. Like I'm tuning myself. And I love to make these monumental, large-scale installations because it just gives me the opportunity to share what I love most with a large amount of public.
I love the words that you use in connection with your work. I love your idea of tuning, that you tune yourself, that the work is tuned, so that it has this musical element, which we'll come back to with the movement of the light, but also the identification of happiness as something that is embraced in your work. I think light is such a powerful force in our lives.
It is.
Whether you're a plant
Absolutely.
or an animal,
Yeah.
the fact that everything gravitates towards the light in a way that I've seen with your work. People just gravitating towards it and the mystery of light and just sort of feeling immersed and involved as a result of the work that you do. The piece in Prospect Park, for example, just an incredible community magnet.
Yeah, you're correct. The piece that I did in Brick was basically related on a daily basis with music. That just incredible. At the same time, have the element of music and also the lighting part of the piece, and you have all these elements. You have also the nature of the park itself. Different types of ivy that grow all over Prospect Park. That's where the name Herrera came about. We talk about how important is the light, but our physicality also, depends on it. There are all those little details that we have to have in consideration when we think about well-being.
Yeah. In addition to that feeling of happiness and the power of light, there's also the aspect of knowledge in the work that you do, and the piece that you're creating for the Wellbeing Summit, Scientia, started with the idea of acquiring knowledge and then creating something that is both about happiness but also about self-reflection and questioning. I wondered, what would you want to share with an audience member coming to see Scientia at Ascuna Centroa in the gorgeous atrium that's there?
Well, Scientia means knowledge. People are going to gather the knowledge from the summits that they're going to be attending. And for Scientia, for example, they are going to be able to realize a couple of different elements. Number one is the relationship of the piece to the architecture, right? You have to work, what do you have that you want to share with others? Then you have the relationship of the piece with the viewer. So that's going to be variable because you could go around 360. It's in the middle of the museum, with Axuma Museum.
I know your work so well. I'm delighted that Azcuna Central will be hosting the piece for several months. I can imagine the people of Bilbao and residents in Bilbao becoming incredibly affectionate about Scientia and wanting it to remain, which I think is such a wonderful tribute, as I've seen with so many of the works that you've installed in different places at other times.
It's really fascinating to see the reaction of people. That inspires myself every morning before I come to the studio, and just to think how incredible is to have that platform to be able to share what you love the most and when you are passionate. That gives you a lot of strength and perseverance to just keep on doing the good work, and to make sure that at some point also you're going to be, in my case, thinking the younger woman, empowering them, this new generation, as to see different ways in which they could share, their own thoughts with others. So it becomes like a chain, and I'm interested in being a part of it.
That is wonderful. The happiness, the illumination, the knowledge that you bring as an artist, I have no doubt will be communicated to every visitor during the summit and afterwards. We're very proud to be working with you, Grimanesa. Thank you so much for sparing this time to chat with me.
Thank you. These wonderful projects that we are working, it wouldn't really happen without the participation of amazing teams. So thank you to you and your wonderful team. I appreciate it.
Thanks again, Grimanesa, and see you in Bilbao.